The sky above Valaris shimmered with colors no human eye had ever seen before. Crystalline towers reflected sunlight in dazzling patterns, and floating transport platforms moved silently between the buildings. Captain Ryan Hale had never imagined a planet like this, and he was supposed to be here as part of a peacekeeping mission. Yet from the first moment he landed, it was clear that peace was only a word, not a reality. Ryan's squad had been sent to negotiate with the ruling class of Valaris, the alien Queen Seralia. They had barely stepped off the transport when a sudden explosion rocked the streets below. Debris flew in all directions, and alien guards shouted commands in a language Ryan could barely understand. Out of the dust and chaos, a group of armored attackers emerged, their energy weapons glowing with deadly light. The ambush had been carefully planned. "Move! Protect the Queen!" A voice shouted in perfect English, carried by a translator drone. Ryan didn't hesitate. He ran, his boots pounding the crystalline pavement. He had trained for situations like this, but nothing in his experience could match the scale of what he was seeing. Buildings were crumbling, energy blasts ripped through the air, and alien soldiers were being thrown aside like ragdolls. He saw her then, the Queen herself, standing on a raised platform in the palace courtyard, surrounded by her elite guards. Her silvery skin and flowing robes made her look like she belonged in a painting, rather than in the middle of a battlefield. But she was in danger. A massive energy cannon had been positioned on a nearby rooftop, aimed directly at her. Ryan didn't stop to think. Using the rubble for cover, he sprinted toward the cannon. The alien attackers had not expected a human to act so fearlessly. He dodged a laser beam, rolled behind a shattered column, and climbed a pile of debris with the agility that came from years of training. He reached the cannon just as it charged for a second shot. With a deep breath, Ryan launched himself at the control panel. Sparks flew as he smashed the alien interface with his hands, sending the weapon into a feedback loop. The cannon exploded harmlessly into the sky, its energy dissipating in a harmless shower of sparks. The Queen froze. Her large, reflective eyes widened as she stared at him. You saved my life," she whispered, her voice trembling with shock. Guards and court officials stopped mid-action, their mouths hanging open. Humans were considered reckless and barely competent in combat. That a human had saved their queen was unthinkable. Ryan gave her a respectful salute. "Just doing my duty," he said simply, and stepped back toward the cover of the shattered courtyard. He did not wait for applause. In his world, the mission came first. The attackers retreated, clearly surprised by the sudden disruption. Ryan's squad regrouped and helped the remaining Valerian guards push them back. Within minutes, the courtyard was quiet except for the occasional crackle of energy weapons and the distant wail of sirens. The Queen's advisors surrounded her, whispering urgently. Some faces were pale with fear, others with anger. "Your Majesty," one council member said, "that human, he has broken every rule of our protocol. No outsider may approach the Queen, let alone save her." Seralia's gaze never left Ryan. She was still frozen, a mix of shock and awe evident in every movement. She had ruled for decades, and no soldier, no warrior in her service had ever acted with such disregard for personal safety and such skill. She could not help but feel a strange sense of gratitude, and something else, something she could not yet name. Ryan's squad approached to escort him back. He barely noticed the stares and whispers of the alien court. He had other things to think about. The attack had not been random. It had been coordinated. Someone powerful wanted the Queen dead, and that meant trouble for the entire planet. That evening, as the sun set over the crystalline towers, the Queen summoned Ryan to a private chamber within the palace. The room was vast, with walls that shimmered like liquid silver. Seralia stood at the center, her hands clasped, her usual regal composure replaced with a subtle unease. "You have done what no Valerian could," she said, her voice calm, but edged with curiosity. "You risked your life for me, and yet you expect nothing in return?" Ryan shook his head. "I serve to protect, not to receive. That's what we do." He could see the flicker of something in her eyes. Respect, perhaps even admiration. Humans were often underestimated, and it was clear the Queen had never seen one act in such a decisive way. Seralia studied him carefully. "There are those among my council who would see you punished. Or worse," she said, her voice lower now, almost a whisper. "They will not forgive a human for this." Ryan's expression was steady. "I don't do what I do for forgiveness. I do it for what's right. The Queen nodded slowly, her mind racing. Then perhaps you are the one I should trust. There is more at work here than a single attack. The forces against me. They are organized and their reach is far. I cannot face them alone. Ryan inclined his head. Then let's face them together. I'll do whatever I can. For a moment, silence filled the room. Then the Queen spoke again, softer this time. You must understand, Captain Hale, that no human has ever been invited into these matters. To act beside me, and it is unprecedented. I understand, Ryan said. But sometimes rules are meant to be challenged if lives are at stake. Saralia allowed herself a small smile, the first real sign of warmth she had shown since the attack began. Very well. I will need your help secretly and only you. If the Council knew, they would never allow it, Ryan nodded. Understood, Your Majesty. That night, as Ryan left the chamber, he felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. Saving the Queen had been just the beginning. Now he would have to navigate an alien culture, uncover a hidden conspiracy, and earn the trust of a species that had always regarded humans as inferior. Meanwhile, in the shadowed corners of the palace, the rogue faction watched. Their leader, a figure cloaked in dark energy armor, smiled thinly. The human, he is more dangerous than I imagined, the figure murmured. He may have saved the Queen today, but soon he will face a test unlike any other. Ryan did not yet know the full scope of the danger. He only knew one thing for certain. He could not fail. Not when the life of the alien Queen, and perhaps the fate of an entire world, depended on him. As dawn broke over the crystalline towers of Velaris, the city sparkled like a jewel, hiding its secrets beneath layers of beauty. Ryan stood on a balcony overlooking the palace courtyard, thinking of the Queen and the trust she had placed in him. He knew the coming days would test him in ways he had never imagined, but for the first time, he felt that humans could prove themselves not only capable but extraordinary, even to an entire alien civilization. And somewhere deep within her palace chambers, Queen Saralia watched him. Her mind replayed the moment he saved her life, the courage and skill he had shown. In a world where trust was rare and loyalty even rarer, she felt something unfamiliar. Hope. The war was far from over. But for the first time, the people of Velaris and the humans standing among them had a chance to change history together. The sun rose over the crystalline towers of Velaris, scattering light across the city in 1,000 sparkling reflections. Captain Ryan Hale stood in the palace courtyard, watching as the Queen's guards moved with precision, training for a threat that was still unknown. The rogue faction that had attacked yesterday had not been defeated. They had vanished into the shadows, leaving only uncertainty in their wake. Queen Saralia appeared at his side, her silvery robes flowing as she moved. Her eyes, large and reflective, met his. I need to know if you are ready, she said softly. The Council will not approve this mission. If we fail, we face not only the rogue faction but the anger of my people. Ryan nodded. I'm ready. I don't work for approval. I work to get the job done. Saralia's expression softened. She had grown to trust him in ways she could not explain. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but their unpredictability could be a strength. Then we leave at once, she said. Time is not on our side. They moved through hidden corridors beneath the palace, passages unknown to the general population. The air was cool and smelled faintly of minerals, a contrast to the bright open city above. Saralia explained that the rogue faction was searching for an ancient device hidden in the depths of Velaris, a device powerful enough to control the entire planet's energy grids. If they succeed, she said, the city above will fall into chaos. Millions could die. Ryan's jaw tightened. Then we stop them. No one else will risk lives like we do. Their journey took them through abandoned chambers, past silent sentries, and into a network of underground tunnels lined with glowing crystals. The rogue faction had set traps, laser grids, collapsing floors, and energy snares designed to kill. But Ryan's human intuition and quick thinking allowed them to navigate the dangers. Saralia followed his lead, surprised at how effective his unconventional methods were. Hours passed as they delved deeper. At one point, they came to a wide chamber filled with strange machinery, humming with energy. At the center, a pedestal held a glowing orb, the device the rogue faction sought. 2 armored figures guarded it, their weapons poised. Ryan crouched behind a crystal column. We need a distraction, he whispered. When I give the signal, move to the pedestal and secure the device. Seralia nodded. Despite her hesitations, she trusted him. "I will follow your lead," she said. Ryan charged forward, drawing the guards' attention with a hail of precise blaster shots. The guards turned, firing at him, but Ryan moved with agility, dodging energy blasts and returning fire. Seralia seized the opportunity, stepping forward and activating the device's containment mechanism. The orb pulsed and dimmed, its power neutralized. The guards recovered quickly, advancing toward them with lethal speed. Ryan ducked behind a console, calculating their movements. "We need to go now," he shouted. Seralia nodded and grabbed the device, sprinting toward the exit. Ryan followed, covering her from behind. The tunnel shook as the rogue faction triggered collapsing floors, hoping to trap them. Ryan leaped across gaps, pulled Seralia across narrow ledges, and found a hidden stairway leading back toward the palace. Finally, they emerged into the daylight of the courtyard. Guards rushed to assist, surrounding the rogue faction who had pursued them. The attackers surrendered quickly, realizing they had underestimated both human and Veilarian skill. Seralia turned to Ryan, her eyes reflecting relief and admiration. "You have done it again," she said softly. "You saved not only my life but the entire city." Ryan shook his head. "We did it together. I wouldn't have survived without your help." The council gathered shortly after, witnessing the captured rogue faction and the secured device. Many of the council members were reluctant to acknowledge Ryan's role. But Queen Seralia spoke firmly, her voice echoing through the hall. "This human has proven his worth. He has saved Velaris twice now. Let this be a lesson. Courage and skill are not measured by species, but by action." A murmur ran through the council chambers. Some were still uneasy, clinging to tradition, but others nodded in agreement. For the first time, a human had been publicly praised in Veilarian history. Later, Ryan and Seralia walked through the palace gardens. The sky above reflected shades of gold and violet, and the air was filled with the fragrance of alien blossoms. "You are unlike anyone I have ever met," Seralia said, her tone thoughtful. "Your courage and your mind. It is remarkable. Humans have potential I never imagined." Ryan smiled faintly. "We just do what we have to do. Sometimes that's all it takes to make a difference." Seralia regarded him closely. "You are not just a protector, Ryan, you are a partner. Perhaps one day we will find more ways to work together. But for now, thank you." Ryan inclined his head. "I don't need thanks. Seeing the city safe is reward enough." Despite his humility, Seralia felt something stir within her, a bond of trust, respect, and curiosity that she had never experienced before. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but their adaptability and courage could change the course of history. In the following days, Ryan assisted the Queen in reorganizing her security forces, incorporating strategies he had learned from his own experiences on Earth. He trained squads of Veilarian soldiers in human tactics, teamwork, improvisation, and thinking outside rigid protocol. Slowly, the city above adjusted, learning that human ideas were not a threat but a strength. Meanwhile, the rogue faction remained a concern. Their leader had been captured, but allies and conspirators were still at large. Ryan and Seralia knew this was only the beginning. Yet the humans' presence among them had already shifted perspectives. Veilarians began to see that bravery and intelligence were not limited to their own species. One evening, Seralia called Ryan to her private chamber. The room shimmered in soft light, and for a moment she allowed herself to speak without formalities. "Captain Hale, you have shown me that humans are capable of greatness beyond what my people imagined. You have saved my life twice, and yet you have asked for nothing in return. This is extraordinary." Ryan shrugged. "I do what I must. That's all. I don't expect anything beyond knowing the job is done." Seralia smiled faintly. "Perhaps that is why I trust you. Others would seek glory or reward, but you simply act." There was a long silence between them. Outside, the city sparkled in the night, a testament to resilience, strategy, and the blending of two very different worlds. "You have changed my perspective," Seralia said finally. "Humans are not as simple as my people believed. Perhaps we can learn from each other. Perhaps together we can ensure Velaris thrives." Ryan nodded. "That's all I want. To make a difference. To protect those who can't protect themselves." In that moment, an unspoken understanding passed between them. It was not just a bond of duty or strategy. It was a recognition that courage, intelligence, and compassion could transcend worlds. Humans were far from perfect, but they could rise to challenges that even the most advanced civilizations might fail to overcome. The days turned into weeks, and the city slowly healed from the recent attacks. Ryan remained at Ceralia's side, a bridge between human ingenuity and Veilarian tradition. He trained soldiers, advised on tactics, and stood ready to face any threat. And the Queen, once bound by protocol and caution, began to see the value of adaptability and courage that only a human could offer. In the end, the rogue faction was defeated, their plans dismantled, their leader imprisoned. Peace returned to Velaris, and the city once again gleamed under the sun, its towers reflecting a world saved by the unlikeliest of heroes. And somewhere deep within the palace, Queen Ceralia looked upon the human who had risked everything to save her, not once, but twice. And she realized that heroes did not need to wear crowns, follow tradition, or belong to a particular species. Bravery, intelligence, and heart were enough. Ryan Hale had proven that humans could rise to greatness even on a world far from their own. And for the first time in her long reign, Ceralia felt hope, not just for her own life but for the future of her planet, and for the partnership between humans and Veilarians that had only just begun. The story was far from over, but the bond forged in courage and trust would endure, and that was a beginning worth more than any victory, any reward, or any title.